Hey everyone, come check us out on The Experience this Monday, October 3rd at 6 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have more of your Dynamite favorites, and Mariana's going to come back to color in more sketch covers. How fun does that sound? It'll be Rex and John and Robbie. Robbie's on Monday. I'll come in, Nick will come in, well, if he feels like it, which I'm sure he will. But regardless, it'll be a great time. Remember, Monday, October 3rd, 6 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss it.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life, I never miss, that's fact, taking big swings, bitch, hand me the bat, put me in the ring, you'll go out in a bag, cause I sing what I mean, and I bring it to the mad light, ain't got time to kill, I got time to feel, I took the red pill, I know life's short, so I wanna live real, but how's it supposed to feel? How's it supposed to feel? How's it supposed to feel? They wanna say my name, but they holding back. They wanna say they hate, but they know it's cap. I ain't play no games, I just do that's fact. And I don't feel no shame, it's a mood you lack. I go crazy, nah bitch I ain't lazy. Track after track, I work on the shit daily. Pass me the jack, right as fuel, got me hazy. About to unpack all these things I've been chasing. I've got visions in my head, like memories after death. To be a legend instead of something you can forget. I'm living up every breath, I'd rather lead than be led. I'll fill the seats as I spread with every word that I've said. How's it supposed to feel? How's it supposed to feel?
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. Welcome to a special edition of Rockin Robbie Live. I am your host, Rockin Robbie Thrills. Because we're in the middle of Horror Fest, how is everybody doing tonight? I'll be showing you all the cool stuff I got, the stuff I got signed, the stuff I purchased, and just recalling some of my experience from the Memphis Comic Expo in Memphis, Tennessee. Went last week. Lots of great guests were there. Greg Capullo, James O'Barr, Scott Snyder, Mark Waid, a plethora, if you will, of amazing creative talent in this amazing creative industry that we're a part of. And I got some cool, fun stories, and I cannot wait to share them with you tonight. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. Not the typical Rockin Robbie Live, but we will be returning with that next week. For some reason, Evil Face Bad, it didn't want to say Greg Capullo for life, and come on, man. Anyway, GTK Comic in the house, artist formerly known as Jesse Say What. We got Nova69, Verno from the Cerebros. What is up? Great show last night on Dylan's Horror Show, continuing Horror Fest 2022. We talked about dog soldiers. And then, tomorrow night, we continue Horror Fest. Where is it? got lots of little buttons here. Where am I? All right. Tomorrow night, we're talking about Green Room on PCP Movie Night. That's at 8 p.m. Central Time. It's the winner of the PCP Horror Fest 2022 PCP Army Movie Poll. And then on Saturday for Dylan's Horror Show, we're doing Tales from the Crypt Demon Night. So that's going to be super fun. And of course, the penultimate episode of She-Hulk is this Thursday. We'll be talking about that as well. That's been a fun show. But anyway, what's up, Evil Face Bad? Reverse Amoeba's in the house, who I met at the Memphis Comic Expo. We'll be talking about that. Two Gun Pedro, pew pew, pop pop, boom. How are you doing? What's up, Rogue Collecting? What's up, CTA Frank? Yeah, how about him? How about him? I mean, it's the Commanders. So I didn't have the game played locally because we're Titans country, I guess. So they were playing the Titans game. However, when I can't watch the game live, I watch this YouTuber or this YouTube channel where it's like the Cowboys Report or something. This guy is like Tom Downey. I really like him, right? They do this whole super chat menu where like different levels of super chats do different things, including like taking shots and stuff, which I was thinking while I was watching it today. I was like, so many people loved my drunken Marvel rant. Maybe I should do a super chat menu to do shots at certain dollar amounts for people if they want to encourage me to have another drunken rant about something. Anyway, that's probably going to be a bad idea. Anyway, I was watching him. He got sloshed today. Like, they went wild. And they kept calling the Commanders the Commies, which I thought was funny because America's team versus the Commies. It's very Rocky IV. Anyway, you can support the channel at patreon.com/PCP, like these fine patrons right there. You can follow us on Facebook and on Instagram. On Instagram right now, I'm sharing my, we're doing Inktober, and I'm doing the Kayfabe-tober prompts. So I've already done a Grendel and a Morpheus for today's prompt of Sandman Universe. They're all rather amateurish and embarrassing, but I'm just having fun doing it. Tomorrow's Mobius. That's wrecking me right now. Honestly, it's giving me a panic attack. Anyway, you can check out podcasts, blogs, all that kind of stuff at popculturephilosophers.com. You can follow me on Twitter at the Rockin Robbie. And if you are on Facebook, join the PCP Army. That's the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. Always have fun there. So we appreciate all the support at all levels. All we need is a like, a share, a thumbs up, which is a like, and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps out the channel. And share, if people want to be at a cool hip and play. No, Two Gun, I'm not drinking whiskey tonight, buddy. I might have to reserve that for special occasions. just regular old beer tonight, man. Got us, woo. Man, I tell you what, that was fun. The response to because I clipped out the Robbie Rants bit, right, about Marvel when I was drunk like 2 weeks ago. And I clipped it out, and the response, I really enjoy all of the comments, like, from every perspective. They're really cool. Mark McGrath is in the house. Dog Soldiers is a fantastic movie. You should add Kill List to your queue for the next go-round. I hadn't even heard of that one, I think. Trade Paper Dad says, Drunken Rant was epic. Anyway, once again, tomorrow, Green Room. That's the movie picked by y'all for Horror Fest, and so we're doing that on PCP Movie Night tomorrow night. Be after my show at The Experience. You saw Amy talking about that. We got Mariano Nicieza coming back to do some more coloring. That's going to be super cool. And Dylan's Horror Show, Tales from the Crypt Demon Night. Excited to revisit that one. I haven't seen that one in forever. All right, so let's get this going. What's up, Glenn? What's up, Moni? How is everybody doing? I appreciate everybody being here. I really do. Not our typical show, but we do what we do. So first of all, we went to the Memphis Comic Expo. I went with, it was me, Brian, who we know as the Brianiac here. So it was me and Brian and my buddy Kevin Stokes. Kevin Stokes is a comic book artist. And so we went with him, and it was like a 3.5 hour drive. We had a good drive up there. Got some good gas station sausage biscuits, actually, at some random town somewhere. Like, sometimes gas station food's really dope. And it looked like a good spread. And I had some sausage biscuits. They were delicious. And a Monster Energy drink. Anyway, great conversation on the way to Memphis. Cool. We didn't run into any kind of crazy traffic or anything like that. So that's cool. Because that's not always the case. For instance, when we went to Heroes, it was totally not the case there. And then, so it was a great, we get there, and we left super early Saturday morning. And so we get there and we go right to the show. It's kind of just started. We go in. My buddy Robbie is there. Robbie from Earth 2, and his son. And we run into them. They're in line for Greg Capullo and Scott Snyder, but we decide to wait because Robbie and his son Colson were just there for the first day, but me, Kevin, and Brian were there for 2 days. So, we just kind of chilled out that day. They actually had some nice food vendors in there. There was a hot dog stand. I had a chili dog, I think, on day 2. On day 1, what did I eat? I don't even know. I don't think I ate there. But we went and ate at this place that Brian recommended called Soulfish, and I kept the cup. Or I kept Kevin's cup because we went back to the hotel. I was like, Kevin, you got a cup from Soulfish? Anyway, so we go eat at Soulfish, and it was really good. So it's like soul food, but like fish. So I had like catfish and shrimp. It was delicious, but for some reason I was super full, probably because I'd been drinking a little bit because they were serving alcohol at the con, and I love cons that serve alcohol. So I had some nice beers. There's a local beer. Oh crap, I still got one. I should have cracked that open. There's a Memphis brewery, and I was like, what's your IPA? And it was called Traffic or something. It was really good. Really good. Reverse Amoeba says Soulfish is fire. Hell yeah. I really enjoyed it. I want to eat there again. Like, I was super full. It's like I never eat breakfast. I ate those sausage biscuits. Did I eat something at the con on that first day? I don't think I did. I think I only ate. Brian ate at this other. Brian had these like French fries that were covered with like shredded chicken and like cheese and bacon and all this stuff and sour cream. And he's eating. He's like, "Oh, I feel terrible, man. This is probably very unhealthy." I was like, "Yeah, bro, but you picked it. You picked it, man." Hey, there's my bro Stokes right there. Stoked Art, dude. It was super cool. Me and Kevin. Okay, so we leave the con after the first day, and I've got Dylan's horror show right now. With the way it was like, I was like, we were thinking about maybe we should go out into town, try to like hook up with some people, hang out, something like that. But I'm glad we didn't because there were apparently some really crazy storms that night. But so we go eat at Soulfish, loved it. We go and I found out that Kevin Stokes loves tartar sauce, loves the hell out of tartar sauce. I feel bad in retrospect. I should have totally given you mine. I always try tartar sauce when I get it, and I always like, oh, I don't like it. But I always try it. Because maybe I just feel like one day there's going to be a restaurant that has a tartar sauce that blows me away. Like, I've never liked kimchi, but there's a Korean barbecue place here where you like cook your own shit on the whatever. And people that are just watching this video on the replay, they're just trying to check out. They're like, what the hell does this have to do with Memphis? But they had a kimchi that I loved. And I was like gobbling that shit up. So anyway, you know how it is. Soulfish was good, though. So we go to the hotel because I've got to do Dylan's horror show because we're doing Us, and Dylan didn't even want to do that movie, and he kind of did it because I told him, I was like, dude, come on, we got to do this movie, paired up with Get Out. And so I had to get we had to get to the hotel, so first of all, I got to give also a major shout out to my buddy Chris Paulk from Super Awesome. I don't want to mess up his Instagram handle. I can't remember it right now. Super Awesome Comics, I think is what it is. Or Super Awesome Hero Comics. Super Hero Awesome Comics. Anyway, my buddy Chris Paulk. We call him Chrissy P. Number 47 in my eyes. But he was... That's an inside joke. He'll get that. Anyway, he had a booth there, right, at the Memphis Comic Expo. And since we weren't going to be able to check into the hotel before we went to the con, that meant I had all my gear, right? Now, the lights and the mic and stuff, I was cool with leaving out in the car for a moment. But, like, I did not, obviously I'm not going to leave my laptop and shit, right? So, luckily, and I guess I had some hardcovers that I brought. And Chris was the super coolest. He always is super cool. He's a customer of mine at the shop. And he has his own kind of thing where he goes to and vendors at these cons and stuff. He's a fantastic dude. He's hooked me up with a lot of the toys. Like, the toys that I got that are badass that Mike didn't get me, usually I get them through Chris. So Chris is super cool dude, and he allowed me to store my laptop and all my other junk there. So I really appreciate that, Chris. You were a godsend, so thank you so much. All right. So we go and we check into the hotel. And Brian has checked us into the sketchiest fucking hotel out there. Key cards don't work on any of the doors. The doors are propped open by bricks and shit like that randomly, or you just can't get in. You got to go around to the front. It's like a Quality Inn. in East Memphis, I think, right? And it's just run down on its last leg, bro. Stains all over the carpets. We get to our room. The fire alarm, smoke alarm, is wrapped up in black electrical tape with a Kroger bag. And everything looks straight out of like 1979, 1982, to the point where I was like, I would love to take this chair home. Anyway, you can see a little bit of it on that Dylan's Horror Show for us, because that's where I was. But like the bathroom had cigarette burns all over the tub and the toilet seat. Like, it looked like something. I kept telling him, I was like, I feel like I'm in a Coen Brothers movie right now. And like when I went to Scarefest last year, and by the way, I'm not going to be able to make it to Scarefest this year. Just a bunch of things are going on all at the same time, and it's just not going to be able to happen. It was supposed to be the final stop on the Rockin Robbie tour this year, but it's just not going to happen. But we will definitely make it happen next year. Next year is going to have a lot of crazy stops, is the plan. So we got to start really focusing on that and not let something like this happen again where I can't make the tour promise. So I won't be at Scarefest. It's sad. It's unfortunate. However, Memphis was awesome. That's what we're talking about. But the hotel was crazy as shit. So they had a breakfast thing. We went and checked it out. So we just got spoiled. We were at this awesome hotel in Charlotte, North Carolina for the Heroes Con, and amazing. It's like one of the best hotel breakfasts I've ever had. It was amazing. Not just because we're eating next to Walt Simonson and Wheezy and Chris Claremont and Larry Hama. No, not just because of that, but just because it was just a really great spread of a lot of good food. This one had like maybe some runny eggs. Kevin's like, oh, they had these like sausage biscuits that are cold that you can grab out of the fridge and put them in the microwave. And they had like some muffins or some shit. It was really bad. I just had some orange juice is what I did. Because I really like that like thinned out orange juice that you get at like hotel breakfast things from the machine. Anyway, I digress. I liked the hotel though because it had charm. And all of the people had charm too. In fact, almost everybody that we came across, Brian would look at me and be like, they're loaded. like it was great. It was a super fun con. A sketchy hotel, but it made for a fun experience. That night, me and Kevin got a little tipsy, got a little buzzed, and talked a lot about a project that we have in mind. That's way too early to talk about publicly, but we started getting some more of it going, and I've had some ideas since. I'm sure Kevin's had some ideas, so that could be something in the future. We'll see. I'm excited. Some of the ideas are cool. Anyway, so that was a fun night. Then we went back to the con, chilled out there, and then left later than we wanted to. We'll get into all these stories about the actual experience with the creators here in just a second, actually. But I want to take a look at the conversation out there. What is up, Fable? How are you doing, brother? Great show last night. We got Perry in the house. What is up, Perry? Perry will be making his appearance back on PCP Movie Night soon. Very soon. I got to look at the list and make sure I can remind Perry. Mark says, love Mobius. Worried about Mark Russell being involved in the Incal prequel comic. He does not play well with other people's toys. Fair enough. I've never read the Incal. I'm just now really kind of diving into Mobius. And so I've read Airtight Garage, and that's what my little hint, that's what my Kayfabe-tober is for tomorrow, is it's going to be an Airtight Garage bit. Cat wants out. I knew this would happen. We went live. You made your decision, Ariel. You made your decision. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. But Mobius I like. I read that. I read Long Tomorrow. I'm grabbing those Marvel Epic collections up when I can find them. I didn't really look for comics on this go-round. There was a dude that had 4 of the 6 of the John Byrne X-Men trades for like $5 a piece, and I was going to get them because I don't have them anymore. I don't have any of the original issues. And I could easily piece together the run outside of the one that's the first appearance of Hellboy, which maybe I would like to have that anyway, so maybe it'd be worth it because Hellboy's great, one of my favorite characters. His name was. But I didn't actually dive deep into any comics or anything like that. But I probably would have been disappointed. I did look at some cool super stuff, though. I hope the room was super cheap. The room was a good price. We thought we were getting a good deal on the room. And then when we got there, we were like, okay, we get it. What's up, Noggin? What's up, JT? 62, the Lefty Blues is in the house. What is up, my man? How you doing? Stokes says, Soulfish was great. The hotel, not so much. We had some fun times, though, there. It was nice, though, because we go out. So we're drinking. We go outside to just chill out for a while and talk. And we come back in. And then there's just like a fucking group of dudes sitting outside of the room next to our hotel room. Like, just fucking talking all loud. Because, like, I'm walking in and, like, these walls are really thin. I can hear these people talking in their room. Now, they're out in the hallway sitting down drinking. Like, this is what's going on there. Seems like, I was like, this is like a by the hour place, man. I was like, there's been somebody murdered in this hotel. I guarantee it. Oh, man. If you like Westerns, Lieutenant Blueberry by Mobius is hard to beat. Yeah. It's also hard to find. It's hard to find a lot of this Mobius stuff. You got to hunt it down. A lot of it's trying to get expensive. That's why I like that Humanoids has got their stuff. The Freddy figure. So this is the Dream Warriors NECA Freddy figure. He's got a, alternate chest. Actually right here. So you can just have the regular chest. Or you can have the chest where he's got the souls of all the kids. I just watched this movie the other day. Gearing up for Horror Fest. So, hell yeah. That's awesome. But yeah, that's what that is. He's got alternate heads and shit like that. I think he's got the syringe hands and whatnot. In fact, as soon as we wrap up here, I'm going to go watch Dream Master, actually. Kick Cloud Kicker's in the house. I got some great stuff at Memphis. Did we meet? I met a few people, and I don't necessarily remember all the names. But I kept seeing Reverse Amoeba over and over and over again. Then he wound up in line. It was the weirdest situation with the Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo line, because I'm in a spot, and then just a few people back to Reverse Amoeba, and then, like, I think Brian's behind him, and then Kevin was a few people behind him, and Kevin's like, screw it, I'm not waiting in this line. We'll get to the line experience. 62 says, I'm an old dude and did not make this Memphis Comic Expo last week, Robbie. I have psoriasis on the bottom of my feet, can't handle a lot of walking. I'm damn good at sitting. Hell yeah. Yeah, I thought that you said you might be there, so I was looking forward to seeing you, homie. We've talked on the phone. I know that. I felt real bad because I met one person as I'm walking in, and at this point, we're finishing up the journey. We're getting there. I've got all of my gear in my bag. I got all the stuff I'm bringing in my bag. I haven't made it to Chris's. All I'm trying to think is I got to get to Chris's booth. I'm sweating. And then somebody came up and they knew me, and we took a picture and everything, and I felt bad because I was like, man, I just got to get and dump all this stuff so I can feel free, right? And so, like, had a hasty kind of meeting with this dude. Can't remember his name. Was it Aaron? And we took a picture and everything, and I was like, man, I'll see you around. I never saw that dude again. This is a very small con compared to others that I've been to. Like, as far as just, but there were people I never saw again. It was weird. Nope, we did not meet. I was only there Saturday. Well, I was there Saturday and Sunday, man. See, and it's such a small place, and you never saw me. It's crazy. I was all over that place. Darkside is in the house. What is up? That one Eric's in the house. What is up, bruh? James. Comics by the Bay. Coming in the way. How you doing today? Did you go anywhere in Memphis other than the show? No. Just Memphis. We went to the show. We went to Soulfish. We went to a Kroger. And then and I always get jealous when I go to other Krogers. I really do. I'm just like, they've got this. They've got an olive fucking, like, they've got an olive bar. But, no, it was super fun. And then straight to the hotel and then back. Where did we go for breakfast? Did we eat breakfast on Sunday? We went straight to the con. I don't think, oh yeah, we just went straight to the con. And then on the way out, we stopped at Popeyes. And I was severely disappointed by Popeyes. I'll tell you that. And I normally like Popeyes, but anyway, that was on the way back. But I had chili dog for lunch and some of that awesome Memphis beer. Anyway. What area did you stay in? All I know is that it was like about 15 minutes away from the con, which was at like some kind of agricultural center or something. So it's not like your con where you go and it's like at a convention center. There's a bunch of hotels around it. It's kind of like out there. But no, we didn't do anything. There were bad storms that Saturday night. Because we thought about going out like after I was going to wrap up DHS. But we in fact didn't. Me and Kevin just, like I said, we just drank beer and Kevin had bought a long box of comics, and he was talking about those, and we were just talking about comics, and that's some of my favorite, the Agri Center or something, yeah. But I think it was East Memphis or something. I don't know. We were at a Quality Inn. It was a sketch. It was really, really sketch, man. I felt like I was in Blood Simple, man. I swear to God, I just felt like I was in Blood Simple or some shit. Barton Fink. Hey, what's up, Mike? I thought about you. Wiseacre is I saw that, and they also had that one that you like, the Get Up, Get Down or something. They had that. They had something that I still got one. I need to go grab it. But it's like traffic something. Light traffic, heavy traffic. I don't know, but it was really good. There's Brian. Brian was there. So we got Brian and Kevin here in the chat. That smoke alarm, I know. The smoke alarm that was wrapped up in a Kroger bag and then electric taped. So crazy. So crazy. I picked so much meat out of my teeth, I could have made a sandwich with it. Went out and got barbecue. I mentioned that. I was like, should we go get barbecue? Because it's a Memphis barbecue. That's a thing. I've been in Memphis plenty of times. I've never had the barbecue there. But Brian really wanted to take us to Soulfish. And I'm glad we went because I really, really liked that place. Dum dum. All right. So let's get into the haul. Big shout out to Chris Paulk for letting us hold our gear there. That was awesome. Big shout outs to Kevin and Brian for great company. And a big shout out to my buddy Jeremy Long, who runs the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo. Our local con. We got William Shatner coming in April. That's amazing. So he has a booth there too. And so I went there at one, and I think it was on the second day. And I'd already seen that he had some Fantastic Four figures I didn't have. And I had my eyes, and I wasn't trying to spend too much money, but I had my eyes on this Namor figure. He had it for like $10. And so I was like, hey, bro, I got to get this Namor figure right there from this Fantastic Four run. This is the ponytail Namor. I love this figure. I had it when I was a kid. His action features, he does this. So it kind of looks like he's, self-abusing himself. If you really want to do it that way. But I loved this figure back in the day. I don't have one open, so I like having it on card. I want to find another cheap one maybe to open up or have a loose one that's complete, but might just keep this one on card for a while because now that I've got my carded like 90s Toy Biz Marvel figures up, I'm a Marvel hater, but I got all these Marvel figures around me. So like now that I've got them up, I'm like, man, it looks like fucking Toys R Us from 1993 in here. And so anyway, he gave this to me. He was like, happy birthday. And I was like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, man, I'm sure you've had a birthday recently or one's coming up. And so I was like, thank you. So Jeremy, thank you so much. He just gave me this. So that's all. He's like, I've had that for 2 years, brother. And I've seen it. I've seen it at other shows. All right. So I got a big shout out for that. Straight up. We talked about Reverse Amoeba. What's up, Bob? Happy belated birthday. Happy belated birthday, bro. Soulfish is good. Should have gone Rendezvous Ribs, though. Brian, write that down so that we can remember that for next year. There are several Memphis breweries. Yep, okay. I think Tiny Bomb's the one that we're thinking of. I don't know. Central Barbecue and Charlie Virgo's. We definitely saw more of Charlotte when we were there for Heroes Con. Memphis to us is like we drove there and like I had to do the show. So that kind of hindered the things on Saturday night. So then, because I had to go do this 2.5 hour show basically, which I loved doing. I love doing Dylan's horror show, especially I'm not going to miss a horror fest. I covered from Scarefest in Lexington last year. But anyway, where was I saying? I wanted to hit Soulfish. Man, it was really good. I like it. But there's a lot of places to go. So, but yeah, that's the point. Is basically it's like we got up, we went there. Next year, I think I want to go Thursday. I don't like the get up, go. Like, I want to be able to be settled, right? I don't want to always have to, like, use my homie's booth that they're paying good money for. You know, I felt bad because I didn't buy anything from Chris, and I was going to. He's got this Toy Biz Superman from the DC Superheroes line, and up there I've got Hawkman, Mr. Freeze, Riddler, Two-Face, Penguin, Bob the Goon, Joker, and Batman, and I got a spot right next to Batman for Superman, and he's got one on card, and I meant to buy it from him, but I didn't. So, and he messaged me the other day. He's like, bruh, nobody bought that Superman. He always cuts me a good deal. He's the one that hooked me up with my Clark Kent Toy Biz action figure. He got that for me. And he also got my Supermobile for me. Or did I think I got this? No, he got the Supermobile for me, I think. Or did I get it from? Regardless, he got me reproed stickers for the Supermobile that I've since put on the Supermobile. But he did hook me up with the Clark Kent and the Parademon superpowers on card. I love Chris. Chris is the coolest. Chris is the coolest. And yeah, Bob, good seeing you here, bro. Good seeing you. Robbie, can we see the logo on your shirt? Well, okay, here's another shout out. Nick from Comic Culture. So Nick is one of my homies, part of the PCP Army Bad Batch. Just a great dude, great thinker on comics. If you've never checked out Nick Comic Culture, you need to sub up. His reviews, I mean, honestly, they're the 4th best comic book reviews on YouTube. And I think they're the best comic book reviews on OnlyFans, okay? But he joined us on the show Friday night. He's usually there for the monthly panel. We had a great show Friday night, by the way. Jennifer from Comics Will Break Your Heart, Greg from Bearded Comic Bro, Nick from Comic Culture, Manny from Tomorrow Cinema, and Brian making his PCP debut for the monthly panel. So we saw Nick the first day for a little bit, and he hooked me up with one of his shirts, so that's what it is, Nick Comic Culture. That's his channel logo. So thank you, Nick. It was cool seeing him. And we saw him first person I went to go meet was Dennis Cowan. And as I'm in line there, we see him. And then he comes over, his daughter's there. She's cosplaying something from Demon Slayer. And we chat for a little bit. And then we're like, all right, well, okay, you're going to go do that. I'm going to be here. We'll see you around. Never saw him again. So wild. Never saw him again. If someone can throw, oh, there it is, Taki, guys, thank you, buddy. And thank you for being here. That's a link to Nick's channel. Reverse Amoeba said, if you come next year, I'll try to find out what hotel they put the talent at and give you a heads up. Well, we know. And we knew where some of them were but we didn't go out. At that point, Brian's like in bed, going in and out of sleep. Me and Kevin are drinking beers and talking about comics and shit. And Brian wakes up every so often to join the conversation. It was really, it was a good night, man. Tony Stank says, went to the Huntsville a few years ago and loved it. Lots to do. Even went to the deep before I knew of your channel. Amazing story. Well, thank you for that. Thank you. What's up, William? Brian says, had a great time on Friday and in Memphis. Oh, you missed Dennis Cowan. Oh, man, that sucks. That's where we went first because Brian wanted to get a commission, and he did. And Brian, I'm sure, will show it off on the next back chat that he's part of. Brian's making excuses. All right, let's get into the haul. So shout-outs to Nick, shout-outs to Chris, shout-outs to Jeremy, but shout-outs to Reverse Amoeba because when I met him, he was a super cool dude, and he gave me this. So this is an Aquaman, was it Play Arts Kai or something? Something like that. I remember when this came out. This is a badass, supremely cool, interesting Aquaman figure, and he picked it up, and he brought it to the show to give to me because he said I was the only Aquaman fan that he knows. But I appreciate it, bro. It's a dope-ass figure. I've got a lot of Aquaman figures, but I don't have this one, so it's going to go to the eventual Aquaman shelf when I buy 8 more bookshelves that I need for this place. But this is dope, so thank you so much. Boom. Reverse Amoeba was super cool and a funny dude, and he likes some good comics. I'll tell you that much. All right. Robbie, were you at Wade's panel? I didn't go see any of the panels. I don't usually go to people's panels. I'll run panels, but I don't usually go to panels. Even at HeroesCon, I wanted to go to the kayfabe panel, but we just decided to wait for an hour on Jonathan Hickman. Mark says, best of the month is my favorite PCP offering station. Nick always has super picks and super thoughtful analysis. Started watching his channel. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Reverse Amoeba says, I'd been meaning to send it in an A-OK for a while, but I procrastinate. Well, why pay shipping charges when I'm going to be in your town, right? There you go. John. Yeah, I'm too good for panels, man. I'll tell you what, I'm not signing up for a PCP panel at the expo this year. We had great panels for the first 2 or 3 years, but the last few years, it's like there's nobody. Like, it's not, I don't know, man. I was like, bro, if you can't get me in a smaller room, I can't fill this big room. We had great panels. We were in a tiny room. We're like, we're sold out at the PCP panel. Got 20 people in here. No, I don't know, man. All right, let's get into the stuff. The real stuff. I'm almost out of the beer. All right. First up, we're going to start with a legend, Kevin Nolan. So I got to meet Kevin Nolan. A legend. I love him. Penciler, inker, colorist, letterer, writer, cartoonist. Amazing talent. So I intentionally, earlier this year, picked up this Outsiders annual that Kevin Nolan had done. Got him to sign it right there. Now, I told him that I thought this was some of my favorite coloring on this paper ever. Now, obviously, that got brought to my attention by cartoonist kayfabe. So it was very important to me to take this book to him and tell him how much I love this book and I love the color. And he says he really appreciates that, and it gives him a sense of vindication, he said, because he said that DC did not want him to color this book. And they actually made him audition to color the book. And he goes, how absurd is that? Who better to color the book than me? I'm the artist. So he was super cool. And I really appreciate him telling me that story about this. And he said that he loved coloring this book and he had to fight for it. And so he said that felt like vindication. So that was cool. I also got him to sign Tomorrow Stories #1. This is part of America's Best Comics, where Alan Moore was doing this anthology. He had other people come in and do work with him, including like Rick Veitch to do Gray Shirt. But Jack B. Quick was done by Kevin Nolan. So Kevin Nolan flipped through it and signed it on the inside right there. He's like, this is the perfect spot to sign. It's almost like I designed the page so I could sign it right there. So that was cool. And then this is one I picked up randomly because he has a short story in it, and Alan Moore's got a story in it, and John Byrne. But this Tales of the Green Lantern Corps annual, #4, I think, 3. So he's got a story in here, which I love, that I think he also colored, and he signed it right there in the explosion again. So those are the 3 books that I got signed by Kevin Nolan, and I love that he took the time to go and find his bits and talk to me about them a little bit. But look at that, y'all. This is great. We're going to have to do this for DC in the 80s or something. But I really appreciated him telling me that story about this Outsiders annual. I thought that was super cool. I like hearing those little tidbits of story, right? Hell yeah, Bob. How about them Cowboys, man? 3-1. Feeling pretty good. Them Dirty Birds, though, are 4-0. They're the only Ando team. But we beat them commies, didn't we? All right. Also, I want to make a quick plug real quick. We've got HorrorFest 2022 t-shirts available. The image on the front was designed by Manny. The image on the back is from a photo that I took of my Blu-ray collection of the movies. I have every movie that we are doing for HorrorFest except for Green Room, because that was a late edition, as well as Werewolf by Night, because that will be like the surprise HorrorFest review that's happening on Friday. Anyway, the stack of Blu-rays, for Horror Fest. John took that, tweaked it a little bit, put it all together as a t-shirt, our first limited edition t-shirt, and our first double-sided t-shirt available at tpublic.com/popculturephilosophers. It's a fantastic shirt, the Horror Fest 2022 shirt. If you're a fan of horror movies, if you're a fan of Dylan's Horror Show, PCP Movie Night, if you're a fan of Horror Fest, you need to get in on this shirt. Two Gun Pedro says, I ordered one. Hell yeah, me too. Me too. All right, next up, I met Ron Mars. Ron Mars, I've never met. He was super cool as well. I took a bunch of Green Lantern stuff to get signed by him. Because to me, I thought of Ron Mars, I thought of Green Lantern. I didn't even think to grab any of my Silver Surfer rebirths. In fact, I didn't even think of him for Silver Surfer till I get there and I go, holy shit, I got some Silver Surfer stuff that he did. Why didn't I bring that as well? By the way, Kevin Nolan did not charge for his signature. He asked for a Hero Initiative donation, which I was happy to provide. I'll give you this information as well. So I met Ron Mars, got him to sign my Green Lantern books. I got issue 48. Yeah, everybody knows these big deals. These were my first Green Lantern books. Well, 46 was my first one because that was the Reign of Superman tie-in. But then I followed it. But it got him to sign my 49. Love that cover. And then my glow-in-the-dark issue 50. And I love that he knew exactly where to sign these. Like, he signed them in really good spots. I love the little word balloon right there. I also got him to sign my 100 because this whole story that they did of 100 through 106 or whatever, where Kyle Rayner meets through some kind of time warp or something, he actually meets Hal Jordan for the first time legitimately. And I love this run. And it's also got one of my favorite Got Milk ads ever, because it's the Buffy one. But yeah, got him to sign that. So I got him to sign those. He charged $5 each to sign, which I think is fair. That's really fair, actually. Nobody has to sign for free. And $5 I think is pretty solid. You know, unfortunately, but because the problem is you have all these people, like if they didn't charge that, you would have these people that show up with boxes of shit to get signed, you know, and it just takes too much time. Anyway, nobody had like significant lines at all at the show except for Greg Capullo, Jonathan Clapion, and Scott Snyder. So I brought these Green Lanterns for him to sign, but we talked about Silver Surfer. And we're talking about Rebirth, and I was like, man, I really liked that book. That was really good. How did that feel, you and Ron getting back together? And he was like, oh, it was great. He goes, my favorite thing is they let us do what we wanted to do. I was like, oh, man, that's awesome. So they just told you, come in and just kind of do something that, you know, do what y'all do. And he goes, yes, exactly. He goes, the only thing that they demanded or requested was that he uses Jack of Hearts. And I was like, really? And he goes, yeah. I was like, well, they must be using him for something soon in the MCU or something. He goes, that's what I'm figuring because he's also in She-Hulk. I was like, yeah, he's in She-Hulk. They've been bringing him back. And so me and Ron Mars, we got some spec tips for you, Jack of Hearts. So there you go. Did Mars do Green Lantern 80th? He probably did do a bit in there, I'm sure, right? He should have. That one, Eric says, such a good arc for GL. That might be my favorite DC story ever, excluding Vertigo. Mike says, Ron Mars and no CrossGen books. Don't worry. Kevin Stokes brought his Scion books. I love Scion. I have those. I didn't even think to bring those. I'm glad I didn't. He's charging $5 a signature. So if you do the math, I paid $20. I gave him $20. But these books, these are important books to me. So that's why I chose those. But if I ever met him again, I would definitely bring some of my Scion stuff because that's got to be a cool conversation. I got actually, Kevin, if you're still here, what was he excited that you brought some CrossGen, or was he like, fuck you, get out of here? I don't want to think about CrossGen because I don't think he ever got to finish. But I'm telling you what, Scion was amazing. That was such a good comic. It was him and Jim Chung. We're talking in early 2000s Jim Chung. Nobody knew who he was. I remember him because he was on Iron Man when Iron Man was like the kid Iron Man and shit. But I always loved Jim Chung. And his artwork is way different now, but you can still see the style there. All right, next up, Mark Waid. I've met Mark Waid before. I met him in 2002. I've got my Kingdom Come signed. I got my X-Men Onslaught signed. And I got all my like Onslaught issues of X-Men signed because like I love Onslaught. And so I don't know why, but like, I already, like, that's what I did in 2002. I was like, I got to get him to sign Kingdom Come and my Onslaught books. And at that time, he hadn't done Fantastic Four yet when I first met him. So I got to meet him again. Super cool guy. Brian had a good conversation with him about Mobius and about Brian's cousin Ibrahim Mustafa, who works for Humanoids. But I got him to sign my Fantastic Four. What is it, 61, but it's or 60, but it's actually 489. This was the 9-cent issue that they did because this was the first issue that Mark Waid did on Fantastic Four with Mike Wieringo, and DC had just recently done a Batman 10-cent adventure, and so Marvel did this 9-cent adventure because they were like, we're not going to charge you a penny more. Does it even say that? It just says world's cheapest comic magazine. But this was the start of their run, so I got him to sign it. And I told him, I was like, bruh, it's Kirby, it's Byrne, and it's you and Ringo. And he really, really appreciated that. And one of my favorite books that he did in Fantastic Four is that issue, but also issue 500. And I've got the regular edition, but I also love this director's cut foil edition with the Mike Wieringo cover. Got him to sign that one. That's where Doom like goes and finds his old love and rips her skin off in some kind of ritual and makes a skin armor. And like that's when like Mark Waid was like the first one in forever to actually finally remember that Doom's a sorcerer as well as a scientist. Man, this shit's so good. Y'all, this shit's so good. If you've never read this, this is awesome stuff, y'all. Absolutely awesome. So there's that. Then I also told him, bro, you've done my favorite Captain America run. So I never got a hold of those issues when they first came out, but because of shit like Wizard coverage, I wanted to get into it. So I got the old school Operation Rebirth and Man Without a Country trades and got him to sign that for me. Mark Waid signed for free. And he chatted and mentioned the shop, and he goes, "Where are you at?" I was like, "In Huntsville." And he goes, "I'm from that area. I'm from Alabama." I was like, "I know." I was like, "In fact, you did a Detective Comics annual that's set in Huntsville, Alabama, and it's all about the KKK." And I was like, "We actually sell that a lot at the shop, like because people buy the book that's set in Huntsville, right?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I remember that." Stokes said, he said Scion was his favorite CrossGen book and still has a lot of the original pages. Hell yeah, man. That's got to be a cool conversation. I feel like a knucklehead. Because when you were like, hey, I brought my Scions, I was like, what the fuck? I'm the loser that brings 4 Green Lantern books for this fucker to sign, completely forgetting that he did my favorite CrossGen book, and he also did Silver Surfer. Oh, and I talked to Mark. We talked to Mark a little bit about Batman versus Superman, World's Finest, all that shit. How good that was, how classic it was. And now he's starting to be named in certain places as the architect of DC. Almost like kind of like, not editorial, but like, I don't know, like story guiding or something. Mark Waid is super cool, so influential, says Brian. Eric says, Wade's run is top tier, and it was achieved with massive editorial interference. Such a great creative team. Yes, it was. All right. Sam De La Rosa. So Sam De La Rosa has been at my local con 2 separate times, and I've never made it over to meet him. I've always wanted to because I love Venom, Lethal Protector. And I've got Mark Bagley to sign my Venom Lethal Protector #1. So I go to get Sam De La Rosa. It was literally the last thing I did to mark it off. So I did get him to sign it right there. He was the co-inker of this book. And I wanted to ask him how the inking duties were divided up between him and Al Milgrom. That's what I wanted to ask him about this book. But when I get there, he's spending all this time taking pictures with a cosplayer, like a sexy cosplayer. So I'm like, all right, I'm cool. You know, yeah, this dude's taking pictures. Y'all, that's cool. Then I go and he's like, I only charge $10 for a signature, but on this cover, I charge $25. And I was like, you know what? Whatever. I was like, whatever. I don't care. Way too much for the co-inker of this book to sign it. However, I understand he's an inker in the comic book industry. I get it, bro. I don't mind giving you $25 in appreciation for your work, right? But then he goes on this whole spiel as he's signing my book about how, oh, you can go take this over to CBCS. They'll authenticate this signature. And I see that you got Mark's signature on here too. And by the way, Mark didn't charge me for that because I was a Night Thrasher fan. But he also asked him to sign it for me. And I think Mark, if it's personalized, doesn't charge you, period. But he didn't charge me for signatures because Fabian told him I was a cool dude. But so he's just doing the spiel. He's like, you need to take this, go get it graded, get it authenticated, go get it graded. I was like, bro, this is my copy from when I was a kid. It's beat up. It's got thumbprints here. Like, come on. Like, I didn't care. So I'm just happy to get it signed by him. I would love to have the whole team sign it one day. Obviously, that's not going to really happen, but I did it. I was like, fuck it, dude. Your work deserves $25. But, don't spiel me on trying to get this shit CGC'd, authorized signature, bro. You don't know me. Man, this is the comic I had when I was a kid that I read over and over and over. You can tell. Anyway. And then Rick Leonardi signed my Spider-Man 2099 #1. We's been at our Huntsville show. He was at Heroes Con, and I always held back on meeting him, but there weren't that many guests there, but they were all really good guests. And so I wanted to hit everybody up, but I don't remember if he charged me for this or not. I think he was asking for donations to the Heroes Initiative, so I think it was a free signature. If anything, it was like $5. It was not much. But figure why not? I'll probably meet Peter David again. I'll get him to sign it. But that's the copy from when I was a kid. And then before we do beer break, I want to highlight an artist that I met. What's an inker? That's funny. What the fuck? $25. I know. And it's only that cover. It's because everybody brings that cover. I get it. People bring that cover. They want him to sign it. They want him to head sketch on it. And he does that. And then they go take it. They CGC it. And they sell it for money. I get it. I understand. Whatever. Obviously, my banged up copy signed to me personally by Mark Waid. That's my reading copy. That's what I read. Well, actually, I got the trade too, but I always do read the original. You did not get Leonardi to sign Cloak and Dagger. I don't have any Cloak and Dagger comics. Man, you should put acetate on that Lethal Weapon Protector cover. That's hilarious. Oh, the first 2 signatures were free, then 5 after that from Mark Waid. I don't remember paying him, but I guess I did. But I only got 3 things signed. So I guess I just gave him $5. Yeah, there were a few injury scares today, Bob. I think. I thought this would be a 30-minute show. Just rambling. That's what I thought last time we did this haul thing. All right. So I met an artist that Brian's a big fan of, and I wasn't super familiar. I've read a couple things that he's done, but I really want to highlight this artist because he's awesome. Kelly Williams. And I got his Monstober 2021 sketchbook. This is what he did for Inktober last year. And it's all like horror related. First of all, he was a super cool dude. And did this little remark for me on it when he signed it. But it's all like, so that's Fluffy from Creepshow. I love his work. I was asking him about what white media he uses and stuff. Look at this stuff, y'all. It is gorgeous. And he uses the black and white and the little bits of color so well. Some of them I don't know what they are. Like, I don't know what the Hag is from. There's some good shit in here. But I was asking him about that, and he showed me his acrylic white paint that he uses. Because I was like, do you use paint? Do you use whiteout? What are you using? Look at his work, though. So Brian, what's his book? It's, they only got issue 1 out right now. It's at Scout. It's, is that The Brave Life of Captain Suave or some shit like that? Let me know. Hey, Joe, what's up, buddy? Joe says he loves Kelly Williams. Kelly's super cool dude, and his art is amazing. His art is gorgeous. So we talked about getting him on the show soon, and I talked about my pet monster, and he was like, "Oh, I always wanted one of those, but I didn't have it, and they're expensive." And I was like, "Well, there's a pop." And then he was like, I don't like Funko Pops. I was like, fair enough. I get it. I thought about buying the My Pet Monster Funko Pop. I had that when I was a kid, by the way. Look at that creature. His work is amazing. So I'm glad that Brian brought us over to his booth. We chatted with him a couple times. I don't know what some of this stuff's from. That's from American Vampire. Obviously, that's The Nun. That work is dope. This is my first year doing one of these Inktober things. You know, I'm not a real artist, not like Kelly is. But man, how do you do this in a day? Like, that would take me all goddamn day to plan all this shit out and do it so well. Look at those. I'm going to show you all of it. Tarman from Return. Pumpkinhead, we're covering that on Horror Fest this year. How cool is this shit? Isn't that awesome? Oh yeah, he's in Deadbeats 2. He did the story with Will Mesner. Okay. I don't know what that one is, but that looks cool as shit. Hey, what's up, Zach? Showing you the Kelly Williams sketchbook that I bought. Super cool stuff. Look at that Cthulhu. But I love it. He's doing like a little bit of like, it almost looks like ink washes. He uses a lot of that splatter, which I love. And I read that Captain Suave book and I thought it was just okay. He was telling us that he just threw that in there even though he hates this one, but I loved it. I thought that was great. So Kelly Williams, y'all check him out. And check out what Brian's saying. We're going to take a quick break. I'm going to go grab that beer I picked up in Memphis. And when we come back, we're going to finish up this haul, y'all. This haul, y'all. That's what we're going to do. All right, we're going to be finishing up this haul now. We are talking about Memphis Comic Expo. I've been sharing my experience, talking about the people I met, showing off some of the stuff I got signed, and I went and I found the beer. So it's from Crosstown Brewing Company, and it's Traffic IPA. So they were serving this beer. They had a full bar at the con, and you know me, I'm starting to be a whiskey drinker, and hell yeah, I've been drinking Woodford. Good recommendation, PCP Army, on the Woodford Reserve. That's some good stuff. But not drinking whiskey tonight. But they had like Jack Daniels and stuff, and I just wanted a beer. And I was like, what IPAs you got? Because that's my go-to. I'm basic, right? And so they had this one, and it's delicious. So this is my last surviving one. Might as well drink it while we're reminiscing about the home of Graceland. That's a fine, crisp, refreshing IPA from Crosstown Brewing Company in Memphis, Tennessee. The entire time I'm there, I've got Alabama stuck in my head. Christmas in Dixie, actually, it's a Christmas song, because there's the line that I kept repeating over and over. And I'm sorry, Kevin and Brian. Maybe down in Memphis, Graceland's all in lights. God, over and over and over again. All right, back to the haul. So we met Mike Norton again. We met him in 2019. He's a super cool dude then. I got my Grumble Volume 1 from him. I got it signed by him. And this was like the last thing I think we did, right? I had intended to go over to see Mike. I was near his booth all weekend long. And then Kevin wanted to go, and he's like, you know what? I really want to go get that Battle Pug Compendium. So then we go over there. Kevin gets it. Brian gets it. And I get it. We all three buy this giant freaking Battle Pug omnibus. The Compugdium. Battle Pug is wild. It's like a funny take on Conan, but with a giant pug. Mike loves dogs. He likes dags. Got him to sign it right there. Mike is a super cool dude. A great talent. We talked a little bit. Now, he had a good conversation with Kevin. Here's some of the artwork in it. Let's see if I can show it a little bit closer. It's a hard one to handle. So if you like fun, barbarian type comics and fun takes, like funny takes on Conan that are a little bit more, I don't know, maybe if say Gru's not gnarly enough for you, this one still has some gnarly elements, and it focuses in on a dog. He does work with Eric Powell, Grumble is one of the books he does over there, and he was talking to me. Now, Kevin talked to him for a while before we went over there, but with me, he was talking a little bit about, they just broke the news that week, I think, that Dark Horse was picking Eric Powell's stuff back up, that they were bringing his stuff back over to Dark Horse. So he says that he hopes there's going to be more Grumble because of it. So hell yeah, that was super cool. Mike is a super cool dude. Everybody should support his work. Then our good friend Liana Kangas was there with Jaslyn Stone. Is that her name? So Liana is awesome. She's just always cool. I've met her for the first time at Heroes Con, and then Memphis again last time, and then we were going to get her at our con. She was going to be PCP's first official guest at the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo in 2020, but then the pandemic happened and all that stuff. So it was cool to catch up with her. We, aside from waiting in line for Greg Capullo and Scott Snyder and Jonathan Glapian, we spent the most time probably with Liana because Liana's super cool. She's been on the show. Brian's a member of her Patreon page. She's just always been super cool for PCP, like always super cool. And so we went and we met her. Now she's got True Cult coming out right now, and Brian and I had kickstarted it months and months ago. So we brought our Kickstarter issues. Man, maybe I need to get the. Am I too loud or am I too poppy here? Anyway, so I brought my Kickstarter copy, and when they signed it, they wrapped it up in this like burger wrapping they had for Burger Lord. And I also picked up a shirt from her that I wore on Thursday night's show, but I don't have it here, but it says Read Comics, Stand Satan. It's appropriate if you like to, it's that logo right there, but it's on red. Read Comics, Stand Satan. So I almost don't want to open this now because Jaslyn wrapped it up. And I almost don't want to mess it up, but I will. I don't know. I don't want to, like, why? I'm kind of like, I think this is cool, but now I'm kind of like conflicted. Like, Liana, am I supposed to open this? Like, what? Am I supposed to open this? Now you've conflicted me. Anyway, we'll just look through it. You can see where she signed it right there. So is this a way that I have to go now buy the IDW release of number 1? I already bought number 2. Anyway, this is actually a really fun book. If you've ever had a shitty job, you'll appreciate this one. Like, I don't want to open it now. I really don't. I don't think I'm going to open it. I'm going to have to fucking buy it again. And it's signed. Why am I not going to open that? What is wrong with me? Because here's the thing. If I opened it, I would rip the sticker. That's what bothers me. If the sticker would come off easily, I would do it no problem. Anyway. So then I picked up something from her as well from the table. I hadn't picked this one up, but it's an anthology. The Color of Always. It's an LGBTQIA plus anthology. Her and Jaslyn have work on that. So I got that cool signature from both of them and the remark from Liana. So I always love a remark. So I think that's awesome. It's the bee's knees. We love both of them. They're super cool. And her story is back here somewhere. And then when I was flipping through it, I realized that there's a blank page before every story, which that's a perfect spot for somebody to do a remark, but I don't care. I'm just glad to get. Now, I haven't read through this yet. Who all is in here that I know? Well, Ariana Mayer, letterer, if I remember right. I mean, I don't recognize any of these names. It really, Jaslyn Stone and Liana and Gabs. That's the only ones I know. I'm excited to read this, dive into it, and check it out. So yeah, they do the last story. Oh yeah, there it is. So there's Liana's work in there. But I haven't read it yet. But I really like that remark. Big fan of Liana, and we had some discussions about some projects with PCP coming up. All right. I'm really excited for this one now. Really excited for this one. Hey, OUG, what is up? I'm afraid to open up my burger wrapping, and I think it has the number 2 in there. Apparently ours were the second and third ones done that way. Nice. Oh, hell yeah, Stokes. Battle Pug, reading it now. Yeah, Mike was blowing a little kid's mind with his art. That's right. That's right. Oh, yeah, he was selling them for 30. It retails for 35. So you should still be able to get this. It's Image. Image is usually pretty good at, I don't know, it's a hardcover, so you might want to check on that. But he was selling them for 30. Tony Sink says, lived in Memphis 47 years, never been in Graceland. Drive by it all the time. What do I think about Rings of Power? Okay, this is what I watched the first 2 episodes. I didn't really like it, but I watched episode 3 and liked it. Then when I was watching episode 4, I was 25 minutes in it, and I was like, I'm not into this, and I haven't watched it since. So I just wasn't feeling it. Reverse Amoeba says, Liana is awesome. She's local and has a sub box in my LCS, so I can randomly run into her. Hell yeah. Retails 35, Brian. I just looked at it. All right. Oh, I didn't grab my prints. Just a moment, y'all. Station. We now pause for station identification. I just searched this entire damn apartment for these prints, and they were right there on the other side of that fucking shelf or whatever. All right, so I met James O'Barr. James O'Barr is the creator of The Crow. He was awesome. He was super cool. I had like a 10-minute bitch fest with him about modern day digital screen tone and duo shade and how the original's better. So that was fun. Y'all know me. You know that I love that screen tone and the duo shade in particular. And it's something he used heavily on The Crow. A little bit of information about what he did at this con. If you brought like a piece of movie merchandise or something, it was probably like 20 or 25 or something like that. If you brought a toy, I think it was like 30. If you brought a comic that he did, it was free. So he signed my Crow #1. This is the Tundra edition. And he was super cool. Super cool. So he signed my #1. He signed my #2. He was very gracious to talk to. And he signed my #3. Right there. Also, he signed my hardcover. He signed it on the inside. Right there. And I love having those Tundra ones, but in this one he did some new stuff that he added to this one. I've actually haven't read this edition, But I love his artwork. I got to tell him how much I appreciated it. And then I picked up this. What was that sound? Y'all hearing a pop? Or is that my phones? Anyway, so I picked up this print from him. And he signed it for me. He signed it right down there. And the print was $20. So that's what he charged for that. Super duper jealous of meeting James O'Barr. He was super freaking cool. He was awesome. OUG. He was great. Like I said, because I started talking to him. I was like, I loved your artwork. I loved your use of duo shade, the ink wash. You're using all the different stuff. He was like, I was using everything I could. And I was like, they don't make it like, as I said, what I said was, they don't make them like they used to. I was talking about the comics. And he goes, they don't make it at all. Duo shade, they don't make it at all. And I was like, oh, no, I know that. I mean, they don't. Yeah, I felt stupid for a moment. But then he was super cool. He was great. I went back there twice because I came back the second time to get the print from him. Because he was so cool. And signed all of that stuff for free. So that was great. Yeah, and Kevin got a print from him as well. That was pretty dope. All right, next up, let's talk about so we go and we see our homie Robbie and his son in the Scott and Greg and Jonathan line. We decide we'll wait till Sunday. Sunday was less busy. We figured it would be easier to get in there. So I look at Scott's socials. Scott says, we're signing from 11 to 1 at the Memphis Expo on Sunday. So we get there right as it's opening. We walk in, and I decide we just do a quick little lap because nobody's waiting. But then there's like a couple people, and I'm like, you know what? I don't mind waiting for 45 minutes. I'm going to get in line. So I get in line to meet Greg Capullo and Jonathan Glapian and Scott Snyder again. I met Scott Snyder at the last expo. Apparently he's a big Elvis guy, so he loves going to Memphis. That becomes key in this story. So we get there, and I'm waiting in line, and then, like I said, a few people behind me, Reverse Amoeba shows up, then Brian shows up, then Kevin shows up, and Kevin gets out of line. He's like, I've met Greg before. I want to meet him again, but I got other things I want to do, and that's what he did. And he had a great time, because he spent most of day one putting together a long box of comics that he bought. He got some good stuff in there, man, though. Some good Tom Strong and shit. Anyway, so we're waiting, and I look over, and I notice that the 11 to 1 has been scratched out, and it says 12. And then someone goes, wait, is it 12? You're like, yeah, they're not going to be here till 12. And I just like, oh no. So what I thought would be like a 40-minute wait was going to be an hour and 40-minute wait. Okay, whatever. I'm not losing my spot in line now, right? Turned out it didn't need to be that deep, because I could have just gone there towards the end of their thing, but the schedule they had listed was not the schedule that happened at all. Okay, so we're just waiting, and we have some good conversation here and there, but for the most part, I think we're all kind of getting pissy. I know Brian was getting pissy. I started getting pissy. I started getting really pissy when it's 12. They're not there. Jonathan Glapian is there, and luckily, I believe it may be his daughter was there, really entertaining everybody. She would say, next, please, and she would have someone come up, and she would draw them like a unicorn or a Batman or something. Like, she's probably like, I don't know, 6 or 7. And then they would give her $1. And she made like $12 or something, conning suckers into buying stick figure drawings. She didn't get me. Every time she was in between, she would like be looking up like, who's next? I'd be like, don't make eye contact. I'm not giving this girl $1 to draw a stick figure. Maybe I should have. Anyway. Maybe. So, Jonathan's there at the 12 o'clock hour. Scott and Greg aren't. Starting to get really fucking pissed. They showed up at probably a 12:35. Greg shows up first. The dude walks over and he's like, I see this conversation go on, and Greg's just like, blah, 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 blah. And then Scott shows up. Scott pulls out 2 Quest protein bars, cookies and cream flavor, one of my favorites. In fact, I was like, ooh, I have that. I can talk to them about that. But I never did. But him and Greg just munching it down. You can tell that they've been somewhere and and they're rushed. And then Scott looks up and he's like, I'm sorry we're late, everybody. We were at Graceland and it took longer than we thought. And so I'm like, you're in Graceland. You didn't already do that? Like Graceland? You're in you have me waiting for over 2 hours because you're in Graceland? However, when we get up to the line, it works out, and I forgave them very quickly. But that pissed me off, and I think it pissed off Brian, and I think I decided that I'm not waiting in lines anymore to meet fucking comic book creators. I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm going to play it smarter next time. Get the VIP. I don't know, like get the VIP. I don't know, man. Certain people, but that was ridiculous. But Hickman was a little bit late when we waited for him. John Romita was not. John Romita was there while I was waiting. He was just doing, like, finishing up some stuff. But Hickman was a little bit late, but Snyder and Capullo were pretty late. Luckily, I had a good conversation with them. So, first up, got Scott Snyder to sign my Batman Who Laughs hardcover. And when I met him, I was like, yeah, we've met before. And I was talking to him, and he looks at me, he goes, you look familiar. And I was like, yeah, I run a YouTube channel. He goes, what's the name of the channel? And I said, Pop Culture Philosophers. He goes, yeah, that's it. And I was like, yeah, man. And then, so we were talking, and then I get him to sign some other stuff, and then it gets passed over to Greg. So as me and Scott are talking, Greg starts signing my stuff, and there's signatures from Scott, Greg, and Jonathan. They charged $10 a signature. But if you bought something from them, whether it was a hardcover or a trade or a print, they would sign it for free. Then there's my medal. Now, I had already gotten Scott to sign this, and that's what I was talking. I was like, yeah, Scott, we had already met. So then we start talking about the YouTube channel. So hopefully, like, I can get in touch with him one day and have him on. But then we're all talking about that. That's fine. But then I got my Spawn books for Greg to sign. So I got him to sign issue 16, which was his first issue of Spawn. Signed it for me right down there. I want to say this is, yep, it's a Grant Morrison story. I love this story so much. But then I had him sign my 39. And anybody that knows me and my Spawn journey, they know that I love this issue. This is my favorite issue of Spawn. So, when I set this down, I told him, I said, hey, man, this is my favorite issue of Spawn, period. I fucking love it. And he goes, let me tell you a story about this. So he informed me that every bit of decoration, the tablecloth, the cookies that the mom is making, the Christmas tree, the ornaments, like the actual ornaments, the actual Christmas tree, that angel at the top, right? Flipping through again. That snowman on top of the TV, that VCR. He goes, this was my house when I was a kid. This is my house at Christmas. He goes, these are the decorations we had. These are the ornaments we had. This is our Christmas tree. Such a badass book. The basic premise of this issue is Spawn's fucking with these dudes on this kid's roof on Christmas Eve, and the kid thinks it's Santa Claus. But Spawn's actually taking out these crooks trying to break in. But because he hears the chains, and he even sees them with that cape riding out with these two crooks, he thinks he sees Santa Claus. But Greg told me that all of this is his childhood Christmas, including the cookies. He said, those are the cookies my mom would make. He said she'd make these cookies with this powdered sugar on them. And I loved that story. I loved that story. So I really appreciate it when people share shit like that. When Kevin Nolan was telling me that he had to audition to color that issue of Outsiders. When Greg's telling me that every bit of Christmas decoration in this house is from his childhood. I love that shit. Love that shit. And then with Jonathan, after I talked to Capullo, I said, thank you for continuing to sling the ink. Inkers are so important, and I'm glad that you're still doing it because there's so many people going away from that. And then he was like thanking me, and then Greg Capullo just goes, He's right. He's right, you know. Inking. Y'all are the most important people in this industry. They make me look good. Super cool. Greg Capullo, Jonathan Glapian, and Scott Snyder were super cool. OMG, Scott knew your channel. If you knew my channel, I had thought, one time I got a random DM from Twitter from him going, glad you liked it. And so I thought that he had seen something because I had just done a really positive review on something. Maybe it was metal or something, but it was a while ago. Last time he told me to send him an email and he'd come on the show, but I mean, I don't know how many emails the guy gets or whatever, just what he says. He has a lot of people up in his face, but I would love to have Scott on the show. Maybe I need to holler at our friend Josh Williamson and be like, hey man, you need to tell Scott, hey bro, you've met this kid at the Memphis Expo like 2 times. I may be older than him. We're probably the same age. How old is Scott Snyder? Anyway, those dudes, Greg Capullo is awesome. Greg Capullo lived up to the hype. I fucking love his work so much. I'm so pumped for Batman Spawn. I loved it. They charged $10 each for their signature. So, yeah, yep, we're caught up on the signatures there. All right, got a few more things here. Then we'll be wrapping up. William says, got that Spawn signed by Capullo? Hell yeah. Damn, these dudes make a killing at meet and greets. Well, they got to share that with a bunch of different people. But yeah, some people do. Reverse Amoeba says, shitty wait times aside, Scott and Greg were lovely. Scott remembered me and my friend from the 19 con. Hell yeah. Scott's a super cool dude when you meet him in person. He really is. And then when we're talking to Kelly Williams, this is towards the end, fucking Greg Capullo comes up and he's talking to, what was her name? Ashley Woods, right? Was right next to Liana. And Greg's over there. Like, Greg is like 10 feet away from me. And I wanted so much to go and ask him to take a photo with me. And I didn't get any photos with creators at all. I didn't get any. I never got. There's a photo of me, Brian, Leon, and Jaslyn. But aside from that, I didn't get any photos with creators. And I usually love to do that. I wish I would have, but I didn't. Brian did. Brian's got some good ones. So check out Brian on his socials. Brian, if you want to throw out your Instagram handle or whatever, that's fine. Another artist that Brian took me to go see, Eric Canetti. So he was super cool dude. Apparently Brian had seen him on an episode with comics by Perch. And so I went there and Brian was talking to him, and I think Brian bought some stuff from him, brought some stuff to get signed. But he had these awesome prints. He had this Ghost Rider. So I picked this up from him. So I got this Ghost Rider print that he signed for me right down there. But he said that he did this whole piece because he was trying to figure out how the flames would burn through the collar there. He said this whole piece was about trying to wrap that up. What I loved about it was just this striking bit of just white right there. I thought that was a really dynamic composition. And I was like, like most people, when we buy prints, we think that we're buying space to put them up and we're buying the frames. Brian, by the way, hooked me up with the little thing to hold them in. So thank you, Brian. But yeah, Eric Canetti, a fantastic artist. He had a Spawn that I almost thought about getting, but I got my Kevin Stokes Spawn right back there. So I got to get these shits framed. Hey, Joe says, we got some Eric Canetti covers on Cherish for Dynamite that I edited. Just saying, hell yeah. By the way, Joe's got a Dynamite comic coming out. So that's 2 of my favorites right there. Dynamite Entertainment and Jolly Joe Corallo working together with Cherish. Is that Katana Collins that's writing that, Joe? But it's based on a character concept that was designed, I think, by Mark Silvestri. Is that Katana Collins doing that? Eric's work was awesome. He was a super cool dude. He was awesome. It is awesome. Cool. I'm looking forward to that, my friend. Got a release date? I don't remember the date. But, how freaking awesome. So those are the 2 prints I got. James O'Barr and Eric Canetti. Not too shabby, y'all. Not too shabby. Does a lot of live shows on YouTube. Hell yeah. I have to check him out because he was a super cool dude. That was the first time I've met him. First time I really paid attention, I guess. But Brian's the one that hooked that's like, you should go meet this guy with me. So that was cool. All right. One of the big reasons why I wanted to go this year was Dan Brereington was going to be there. Dan Brereington did the Nocturnals and is still doing the Nocturnals. And when I met him, he was very gracious. We spent, it may have been 15, 20 minutes talking. He immediately sent me a friend request on Facebook. He was talking to me that he's still doing Nocturnals. There's going to be, so these omnibuses, there's 2 of these that how all the Nocturnals work that has come. Excuse me. But he already has been working on more, and he's been kickstarting it, and I was like, I didn't even know that. So he friended me on Facebook. He sent me some information. He was a super cool dude, and he said that what he's working on now is going to be a series of like 3 or 4 books that are going to be the next volume 3 of this. But the way to get in on the ground floor is this. He's already done the first one. He said he's already got the second one done. He just needs to paint it now. He's got it, like, meaning he's got it written, he's got it laid out, and the line work's done, but now he's got to go in and paint it. I love his work. I'm a super fan of horror movies and Halloween, and I was reading this shit back in the early 2000s. Oni Press was publishing it at the time. If you've never read his work, you got to. These are giant hardcovers. This is with a $30 hardcover, and then book 2 is even thicker, and it's $30 too. And they're currently both back in print from Dark Horse. Y'all need to get in on this book if you never have. And Dan was super cool. And of course, got to get the signature right there with the moon. Thanks, Robbie. Memphis 2022. Then I went back on Sunday and chatted a little bit more. Oh, got this hefty one signed. Right there. But great books. Excellent content, amazing artwork. This one's even got like some black and white stuff. Oh my God, look at this artwork, y'all. This, if y'all like the horror stuff that I'm into, there's the Gun Witch. He's like my favorite character. I was hoping that he would get a remark, but it looked like he was doing remarks for people that got like the sketch covers of the Kickstarter. So I'm definitely going to be getting some more of his stuff. I didn't even know that he was doing it. So he was awesome. He was super cool. I had a great long conversation with him. Robbie, I get the cheap document frames from Wally World, and they work great for comics and prints. So what is that? I guess those are mostly 11 by 17 or something. Anybody know? Is that the frame I need to get? 11 by 17? Because I got my Jim Rugg ones I want to get framed up, and I got my Spawn from Kevin Stokes, but I got a Fantastic Four Silver Surfer that Kevin did for me too. And I've got other prints that I've bought here and there. I got my Francisco Francavilla Dario Argento one that I definitely got to get framed. All right. The other one, this is the final stuff, but I was really pumped to meet Dennis Cowan. Dennis Cowan, a lot of people know him as a big milestone artist, right? Did Hardware. He was very important. He's a very important black comic book creator. Worked with Dwayne McDuffie. But what I know and love him from in particular is The Question. And I love The Question. I fucking love it. And so does Brian, and we are very excited. Brian got a commission from him of Lady Shiva and The Question and Vic, and it was awesome. But had to go meet him. It was the first thing I did. So I got my number 1 signed right there. Question number 1. I told him how much I loved this book, how important it was to me, to my development as far as a comic book reader. Like what superhero comics could be. Like it was different than other things. And I mentioned how much I loved his artwork. The way that he brought in grit and texture, kind of like a Klaus Janson. So as I'm telling him this, he's got my omnibus, my Question Volume 1 omnibus, which is a beautiful... This is the first time that I pulled the slip off when I took it. I don't take my slips. This is gorgeous. So as he's signing it, I'm telling him how much I love his work, how much it meant to me, how much I love the texture, how much I loved the lines, and they felt frantic almost, right? But purposeful. And then he starts drawing. And so he draws a remark in here of the question of Vic. And he tells me, flattery will get you everywhere. And he was such a cool dude, smile on his face. Some of the funnest handlers out of everybody's handlers. They were awesome. So now I'll show you what he did on the inside right there. So he did me a question. And this is probably my favorite thing, is getting Dennis Cowan to get. Unfortunately, I could never get Denny O'Neil to sign it. That sucks. But and maybe one day I can meet Bill Sienkiewicz. And wouldn't it be cool to get Sienkiewicz to do something right there? How cool would that be? Anyway, this is one of the greatest DC vigilante superhero comics ever. I love it. So there you go. That's the haul. And then so we left Memphis. We had great conversations with everybody. I didn't have a bad experience with anybody. The only thing was the line wait and Sam charging $25. And that distracted me, so I didn't get to ask him the question of what was the division of labor between him and Al Milgrom. But he probably wouldn't have liked that question, to be honest with you. However, great show. Memphis, they care about comic book creators. And what's crazy to me, there are legends there like Mark Waid, James O'Barr, Kevin Nolan, Ron Mars. You can just walk up to these people. James O'Barr, I watched him do some commissions, by the way. He had all these ink pots around him, pulling out shit, and he loved talking about that. He loved talking about the technique. He loved that, and I loved having this bitch session with him. We were lamenting about the digital screen tones and the digital duo shades and shit like that. It's not as organic. I was like, it's not as organic. You can tell the difference. He goes, you're right. You can tell the difference. It was great, man. It was like two angry men yelling at the cloud. Wasn't drinking whiskey though. So could have been crazy. So that's the haul. Dennis seems so nice when I seen him. He's fucking awesome. And pay attention to the next PCP back chat. Brian's going to be on Green Room tomorrow night, so there'll be a show and tell section for that. So I bet Brian will show off his his commission and all that stuff. So hell yeah. Katana Collins is amazing. If she's in, I'm in. Love her work on White Knight World. Yeah, me too. Is she Sean's wife? Or should I say, is Sean her husband? I think FOC on issue 1 is coming up shortly. Yeah, so we're very, very close. So jealous. Sounds like you had so much fun. Yes, every time I go to a con, I make sure to have a lot of fun. When you go to a con, here's some advice. Be prepared. What I mean is, have a plan, know who you want to hit. I like to throw my stuff together the night before. That's always frantic, but I don't like to stress too much about it throughout the weeks going up to it, but get a good selection of stuff you want. Buy some stuff. Be planning on spending some money because you're going to be paying a premium on food and on alcohol, and some of these guys are going to charge money for their signatures. I think that's okay because there's not a lot of financial rewards for being a comic book creator at times. You get what I'm saying? Not everybody's a Todd McFarlane or a Rob Liefeld or a Stan Lee. So I say support your favorite creators, meet them. Most comic book creators I've met have been awesome. This year was no exception. Just be prepared, have fun. Don't get yourself down. Don't get caught up just doing one thing. Do a bunch of different things. Eat the local food. Drink the local beers. Talk to people. Meet people. Play a video game. Buy something from a vendor. Buy something from a creator. Tell somebody that you love their work, that it changed your life. I love going to cons. I wish that we were doing Scarefest. Unfortunately, we had to take that off the table. But we're doing some big things for 2023, and that's what we're gearing up for. So, y'all, it was a great show. It's probably the best small show ever. But I will tell you this, join us for the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo in April. Go ahead and make plans to be in Huntsville, Alabama. It's a great town. I'm here. My shop's here. If you want to see the shop, I'll give you the damn tour. Also, just come hang out with us because we'll be there and lots of fun guests, including William Shatner is going to be there this year. How crazy. How crazy. Did you meet Mark Benard and got his book adored? No, I did not. There were people in Artist Alley that, like, first of all, I knew Gavin was going to be there, Gavin Guidry. Brian didn't. Brian went and talked to him. I didn't get over there to talk to him, actually, but I had met him in 2019 there. Sean is her husband. Okay, that's what I thought. Hell yeah. Did Jerry Lawler put you in a headlock? No, but I was very tempted to go and meet Jerry Lawler. He didn't have a long line either. I was very, very tempted. Very tempted. Very tempted. All right, anyway, we're dipping out. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. Keep it real. Horror Fest continues tomorrow night on PCP Movie Night at 8 p.m. Central Time. That's the wrong one. We're talking about The Green Room, the winner of the PCP Army Horror Fest 2022 movie poll. And then join us for Dylan's Horror Show on Saturday night, where we're going to be talking about Tales from the Crypt Demon Night. And yes, we'll be talking about She-Hulk on Thursday and Friday night. Special bonus episode of PCP Horror Fest. Werewolf by Night. I'm hearing good things, actually. Hearing good things. Y'all keep it real. We're dipping out. We're dipping dots.
Hey everyone, come check us out on The Experience this Monday, October 3rd at 6 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have more of your Dynamite favorites, and Mariana's going to come back to color in more sketch covers. How fun does that sound? It'll be Rex and John and Robbie. Robbie's on Monday. I'll come in, Nick will come in, well, if he feels like it, which I'm sure he will. But regardless, it'll be a great time. Remember, Monday, October 3rd, 6 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss it.
Did you know that the Sandman Act 3 Audible is already out? It's already out. It's available. I haven't even started Act 2 because especially in the last couple of years, I've reread volumes 1, 2, and 3 so much in preparation for the first Audible Act, in preparation for the TV show, in preparation for episodes of Comics Revisited. But I have not read Seasons Missed in forever. So I started reading that today, first two issues. When you read Sandman, it can ruin comics for a while because Neil Gaiman and his artists are so adept at doing so much each issue. Even though it feels like maybe the story's not moving, it is. And as a whole, it's amazing. So tomorrow morning on my walk, I'm going to start Season of Mists. I'm going to start Act 2 of The Sandman Audible. I have Acts 1, 2, and 3. If you've never listened to those, I don't care if I don't like, not that I don't like audio dramas. It's just not my thing. When I'm walking, I'm usually listening to like books that are more like nonfiction, things like that about things, or, you know, like I'm reading that kind of stuff at like double speed. You can't listen to an audio drama at double speed. You could, but you should not listen to Sandman at double speed. But tomorrow morning, I'm starting Act 2. Also, Tuesday night, going live for the weekly comic book review, because it's actually the 6th anniversary of the weekly comic book review. So I'm going live for a special collector's edition. I figure I'll start doing that every year. We did that last year for the 5th anniversary. But 6 years every week, a weekly comic book review, never missed. I'm pretty proud of that. I hope you're going to be there Tuesday night at some point, whenever I'm done reading my books. I'll try not to shit on Marvel too much, but I can't make any promises. Oh, I read my DC books. They're pretty good. They're all pretty good this week. They're all pretty good, honestly. Azrael, Poison Ivy, Dark Crisis. What is it? Darker Green? So it's like Alex Packnadell, Dan Waters, and Ron V. I was underwhelmed because my expectations are so high, but I still enjoyed it. What else did I read from them? Gotham City, Year 1 from Tom King, Phil Hester. Pretty good, actually. Yeah. Station, Pop, Pop, Boo.